Sheriff Michael Walker was born and raised in Redford, a small town where everyone knew each other. He prided himself on his intimate knowledge of his neighbors and their daily habits, but the murder of Logan Miller shattered the serenity of this close-knit community. The idea that one of his neighbors could be a killer was a thought that stirred both fury and despair within him. Detective Jonathan Reeves arrived in town, tasked with unraveling the web of deceit surrounding Logan's death. The crime scene was a tangled maze of trails and trees, an area known only to longtime Redford residents. Broken branches, dents in the earth, and pools of blood suggested a fierce struggle had taken place. Logan's body bore the marks of a brutal fight, with deep rope burns around his neck and bruises from his attempts to defend himself. The investigation quickly identified the time of death as around midnight, narrowing the list of potential suspects to those who had been near the forest at that hour. Despite the small size of the town, finding suspects was no easy task. Most residents were in disbelief that anyone they knew could commit such a crime. Caroline Winters, whose house was disturbingly close to the crime scene, was the first person Reeves questioned. Her reaction was unsettlingly calm, almost too distant. Caroline claimed she had gone to bed early and saw nothing suspicious, but her general answers hinted at something being concealed. Detective Reeves knew he needed to dig deeper. The focus soon shifted to Bobby Smith, a local with a troubled past involving petty crimes and frequent altercations. Bobby's behavior had recently grown increasingly erratic. He appeared less often in town, avoided friends, and seemed preoccupied. His actions made him a prime candidate for suspicion. Detective Reeves decided to question Bobby, who lived alone on the outskirts of town. A search of Bobby's garage uncovered a rope with blood matching Logan's, which led to his immediate detention. Bobby denied any involvement, claiming the rope had been in his possession for years and that the blood could have been transferred accidentally. Despite the evidence, Reeves had a nagging feeling that Bobby might be a scapegoat. Meanwhile, Caroline's daughter, Margaret Maggie Winters, arrived in Redford, deeply concerned for her mother. Maggie, knowing her mother had communicated with Logan but believing in Caroline's innocence, stayed to support her. She observed her mother's increasingly isolated behavior and began to question whether Caroline could be involved in something more sinister. Reeves's investigation revealed another suspect, George Evans, a recent newcomer to Redford with a sketchy past. Evans had been involved in various criminal schemes before relocating, but he had always managed to avoid serious repercussions. The detective's investigation into Evans's past uncovered a history of criminal activities, including drug trafficking. Evans's behavior during questioning was nervously evasive, and his connection to Logan was questionable. Reeves discovered that Logan had borrowed a substantial sum from a local moneylender, a connection that tied back to Evans's criminal network. This revelation added a new dimension to the investigation. Logan might have been a pawn in Evans's criminal enterprise. Reeves decided to confront Evans directly, emphasizing his knowledge of Evans's criminal background. Evans's demeanor changed dramatically. He tried to deflect, insisting that his past had no bearing on Logan's murder. Despite his protests, Evans's nervousness and inconsistencies fueled Reeves's suspicions. Caroline Winters, now a central figure in the investigation, was questioned again. She admitted that Logan had sought her advice on his troubles, but she downplayed the severity of his issues. Her reaction to the questions about Evans revealed a deeper connection than previously acknowledged. Reeves decided to stage a confrontation between Evans and Caroline, hoping their reactions would expose hidden truths. The encounter was tense. Evans accused Caroline of blackmailing him, suggesting she had coerced him into murder. Caroline vehemently denied the accusation, claiming Evans was merely trying to shift blame. The detective, now more convinced than ever that Evans was the mastermind behind the crime, ordered a thorough analysis of all evidence. Forensic tests confirmed that the rope found in Bobby's garage was indeed used in Logan's murder, but no additional evidence connected Bobby to the crime scene. This suggested someone was deliberately framing him. Sheriff Walker, working in parallel, discovered a witness who had seen Logan with a man resembling Evans on the night of the murder. This critical piece of evidence solidified Evans's role in the crime. The culmination of Reeves's findings led him to formally accuse George Evans of being the true perpetrator. Evans's arrest brought a wave of relief to Redford. The town, once gripped by fear and suspicion, began to return to normal. George Evans was convicted not only of Logan's murder, but also for his involvement in various criminal activities. He was sentenced to life in prison, his plans to escape justice thwarted. For Caroline Winters, the case left scars that would not heal easily. Although not directly implicated in Logan's murder, she faced the scorn of the community. Her reputation was tarnished, and the once friendly neighborhood became cold and distant. Deciding that a fresh start was the only way forward, Caroline sold her home and moved away with Maggie, who supported her mother through the transition. Sheriff Walker, reflecting on the case, felt a profound responsibility to improve the town's safety measures. He initiated community meetings to address safety concerns and strengthen the relationship between law enforcement and residents. He hoped that by learning from the events, Redford could prevent future tragedies. Detective Reeves returned to his own town, carrying the weight of the case with him. The murder of Logan Miller had been one of his most challenging cases, and its impact lingered. He understood that even the quietest places could harbor hidden dangers, a lesson that would influence his future investigations. The shadow of Logan Miller's murder lingered over Redford, but life gradually resumed its normal rhythm. The town remained vigilant, the memory of the crime serving as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in even the most serene of places. The residents of Redford worked to rebuild their sense of security, united in their determination to face any challenges that lay ahead.